Hello students, I am Jyoti Sharan, your biology teacher. Today we are here to start with a new chapter, that is respiration in plants. Okay, this is your chapter number 14 in biology. In chapter 14 we will study about all the facts that are related to the respiration in plants. In this chapter we will discuss about the respiration in plants, that what is respiration, types of respiration and their detailed mechanism, and how the respiration it result in the formation of energy currency, that is the ATP of a particular cell. So let's start the chapter. First of all, what is respiration? As we are studying about respiration in plant. So what is respiration? Respiration is the breaking of complex molecules that may be carbohydrates, that may be protein, that may be fats, but ultimately all the biomolecules they come to their carbohydrate hydrocarbon form for the breakdown, and in the respiration those carbohydrates or hydrocarbons are broken down into simpler substances by breaking their carbon-carbon bonds and hence releasing a considerable amount of energy and CO2. The complete breakdown of any biomolecule or as we say that glucose or carbohydrate result in the release of CO2 along with amount of energy. If we talk about the types of respiration, then there are basically two types of respiration, that is aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic respiration is completely oxygen dependent, means the type of respiration depends on oxygen, means the breakdown of these complex molecules depends on oxygen and release of energy. In the presence of oxygen, a complete breakdown takes place, and at the end of reaction along with energy, carbon dioxide is also released. But anaerobic respiration, it is independent of oxygen, means to this respiration presence of oxygen is not necessary, because as the organisms they doesn't depend on the oxygen for the respiration. But in this incomplete breakdown of food takes place and a low amount of energy is released. Moreover, the CO2 release is also not fixed. Then there is a peculiar step or peculiar feature which exists in each type 3-phosphate, and the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, it undergoes further reduction by reducing NAD positive molecule to NADH, and it is converted into triose bisphosphate. Okay, 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, that is also a 3-carbon compound. Now the phosphate is removed from this triose phosphate, and it is used for the production of ATP from ADP, and this is converted into triose phosphate. 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid is now converted to 3-phosphoglyceric acid, 3-carbon compound. Now the 3-phosphoglyceric acid is converted into 2-phosphoglyceric acid. The 2-phosphoglyceric acid means the phosphate group has been transported to the second carbon molecule. Now the phosphoglycerate, by removing of one hydrogen molecule, is converted to phosphoenol pyruvate, and then this phosphoenol pyruvate, by releasing the phosphate group from phosphoenol pyruvate, is converted into ATP by using the inorganic phosphate in ADP to produce ATP molecule. Means overall there are two steps which use ATP for the phosphorylation, means glucose to glucose 6-phosphate and fructose to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. These two steps involve the utilization of ATP, and there are 2 steps where this phosphate, added phosphate, is also removed to form the ATP. These 2 steps are transformation of 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid to triose phosphate and 3-phosphoglyceric acid, and then the phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate or pyruvic acid. At the end, from one glucose molecule, 2 molecules of pyruvate or pyruvic acid are formed, and these 2 pyruvic acids, pyruvate molecules, are transferred to mitochondria for their further breakdown. The NADH produced as a result of glycolysis are used for oxygenation reaction in the mitochondria so as to produce ATP. How this ATP are produced, we will study it under the process oxidative phosphorylation. Now there are 2 fates of pyruvate. One is oxygen availability and the another is oxygen inavailability. If oxygen is not available to that particular pyruvic acid, then the pyruvic acid, it undergoes an anaerobic breakdown, that is termed as fermentation. Means the anaerobic breakdown of pyruvic acid to ethanol or lactic acid is termed as fermentation. The fermentation reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme zymase. In fermentation, the glucose is incompletely breakdown to into any other secondary metabolite, that may be a lactic acid or maybe an ethanol. In plants, the pyruvate is generally converted into ethanol along with release of CO2, and a little amount of energy is also liberated with this process. But in animals, the pyruvic acid is converted into lactic acid by oxidizing one NADH molecule to NAD positive, and this oxidation of NADH results in release of a little amount of energy, and that energy is used by cell. Similarly, NADH positive is oxidized to NAD positive and also result in the release of a little amount of energy. So along with lactic acid, the little amount of energy is also liberated in animals, and this energy is used by the cell for their requirements. But the energy required is energy release is too much low that it is not sufficient to a eukaryotic organism. For prokaryotic it is sufficient, so they can respire anaerobically, but for a eukaryotic organism, the energy released during fermentation reaction or during anaerobic respiration is not sufficient. So eukaryotic always require oxygen dependent breakdown of pyruvic acid, that is aerobic respiration. So let's start with the mechanism of aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, it involves the complete breakdown of glucose to carbon dioxide and water, which are raw material for the synthesis of glucose during photosynthesis, and it occurs in mitochondria by consuming oxygen. Means the aerobic respiration is completely dependent on oxygen. If there is deficiency and they prefer the anaerobic respiration. And on the type of the cell, that whether it is a plant or it is an animal, the secondary metabolite is produced, which is always fatal for any eukaryotic organism. Lactic acid, release of lactic acid is generally result in muscular cramps in animals. And ethanol, if ethanol is released in plants or secreted in plants, it is lethal for the plants, and it occurs, it results in the death of plant. And that is the reason if a plant is remained in stagnant water for a longer period, the root of that particular plant start to respire anaerobically and the plant ultimately dies. So in aerobic respiration, oxygen is necessary. In this, the pyruvate is first converted to acetyl coenzyme A in the presence of oxygen, and then this acetyl coenzyme A is used for the further reduction by consuming it into a cyclic process that is termed as Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. Okay. Pyruvic acid, it reacts with coenzyme A, and this pyruvic acid and coenzyme A association result in the formation of acetyl coenzyme B. This process involves oxidation, reduction of NAD positive to NADH and hydrogen ion. And these NADH and hydrogen ion are used for the further oxidation of NADH and formation and synthesis of ATP molecule. How this mechanism occurs? First of all, we will talk about the Krebs cycle or the TCA cycle. TCA cycle means tricarboxylate So let's start with the electron transport system. The electron released during the Krebs cycle are used for the now start with the electron transport system. As the NADH is hydrogenated deoxygenated to NAD molecule, it releases H positive ions. The electron transport system, it is made by the cytochromes present in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Okay, as we know, the mitochondria is double membrane bound organelle, that is in which outer membrane, okay, and then inner membrane, it contains of oxysomes that contain F particle, that is base like this. These F particles, they are involved in the production of ATP like this. This one is an F1 particle. Okay. Now in the inner membrane mitochondria, there is the matrix of mitochondria, and in this matrix the oxygenation reaction, it carries down. The oxygenation reaction involves the oxygenation of NADH molecule, which are produced as a result of Krebs cycle. These NADH are oxidized to NAD again, and this oxygenation of NADH to NAD, it result in the release of protons and also the release of electrons. These electrons, protons are transported to the intermembranous space, means the space present between outer and the inner membrane. The protons are transported to this intermembranous space of mitochondria, but electrons, they are picked by a particular system of cytochromes which involve different kind of pigments by just like ubiquinone, hydroxyubiquinone, cytochromes, and then ferredoxin, etc., etc. A number of pigments are involved in this electron transport system. Then these electrons are picked up by this electron transport system. Further, these electrons, they are first received by ubiquinone. Ubiquinone transport this electron to hydroxyubiquinone, and this hydroxyubiquinone, it transport the electrons to the cytochrome complex. When electrons reaches the cytochrome complex, it release more protons to the intermembranous space, which result in the increase in proton ion concentration in the intermembranous space. Now the electron, they are transporting through ubiquinone and cytochrome complex. At last they reaches, these electrons remain transported through the ubiquinone and cytochrome complex, and these cytochrome complex transport these electrons to further to new cytochrome complex, that is cytochrome A. This is one is cytochrome C complex. Then from cytochrome C, these electrons are transported to cytochrome A complex. At the cytochrome A complex, the water molecule, it dissociate into oxygen and hydrogen ion. This oxygen is further used for the oxygenation of NADH molecule, and it will release more protons and more electrons in the electron transport system, and the proton ions released due to dissociation of H2O molecules are also released in the intermembranous space. From the intermembranous space, the proton ion concentration is too much increased, and the electrons, they are present in the matrix of the mitochondria. So here the electron or the negative charge concentration increases, but in the outer side or the intermembranous space, the proton ion concentration increases. It set a electrochemical gradient, means the concentration difference across a membrane, that is the inner membrane of mitochondria. The concentration of proton ions is increased to the outer side of the inner membrane, while the electron ion or negative ion concentration is increased on the inner side or in the matrix of the mitochondria. So it causes the transport of proton ions from intermembranous space to the matrix, and this transportation is only favored by the channel or the protein channel present in F1 particle or the F complex. When this proton transported through this particular F particle, the gradient, it breaks. The breakage of gradient is sufficient to provide the energy to the enzyme ATP synthetase, which synthesizes ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate by using the energy of this particular electrochemical gradient to ATP. Means the ATP synthetase present in F1 head of the F particle synthesizes ATP by using energy of this electrochemical gradient, and finally the ATP is synthesized, and these proton ions are further used for the reduction of NADH molecule, and when oxygen is present, then the NADH molecule is again oxygenated and again electrons and protons ions are released, and this process remains continued in a cyclic way through Krebs cycle. So, electron transport system is a peculiar character or a characteristic system in the Krebs cycle, which result in the oxygenation of NADH molecule, release of proton ion in the intermembranous space, and the electrons to the cytochrome complex in the inner membranous space, and ultimately an electrochemical gradient is set between the two membranes, and by using the energy of this particular electrochemical gradient, ATP synthetase enzyme, which is present in the F particles in the inner membrane of the mitochondria, synthesizes ATP by using ADP and inorganic phosphate as raw materials. The synthesis of ATP here take place due to oxygenation of NADH molecule due to presence of oxygen. Hence, this type of synthesis of ATP is termed as oxidative phosphorylation. Phosphorylation in which a phosphate bond is established to form a triphosphate molecule from a diphosphate molecule. Okay. Now there is a fact related to respiration, that is respiration is an amphibolic pathway. Amphi means bibolic directional. Respiration, it is a bidirectional pathway. As we know, any of the biomolecule, whether it may be a carbohydrate, whether it is a protein or whether it is a fats, all come to their simpler form, that is glucose, after their breakdown during process of digestion. This glucose is converted to pyruvate acid, and the pyruvate acid is further converted to acetyl coenzyme A. The acetyl coenzyme A, it is used in the Krebs cycle for the further degradation or the production of ATP molecule. But when the body requires synthesis of proteins or fats, this acetyl coenzyme A is withdrawn from the Krebs cycle and used for the synthesis of proteins and fats, and that's why the proteins and fats, they break down to form the acetyl coenzyme A, and this acetyl coenzyme AA, it is further withdrawn or absorbed from the Krebs cycle to resynthesize proteins and fats. Hence, both the process that are catabolism, means breakdown of complex molecule to the simpler molecule, and the anabolism, that is the formation of complex molecule from the simpler one, both of the processes are taking place, so that the respiration is an amphibolic pathway. There the respiration rate or the amount of oxygen, it can be measured by using a particular question, that is the respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient, it is also denoted by RQ. Then what is RQ or the respiratory quotient? Respiratory quotient is simply the ratio of carbon dioxide evolved to the ratio of the amount of oxygen consumed in a particular single respiratory cycle. Means in a particular single respiratory cycle, the ratio of carbon dioxide evolved to the oxygen consumed in that particular respiratory cycle is termed as respiratory quotient. The respiratory quotient can be used to identify the type of biomolecule or the type of substrate which is supposed to be respired. For carbohydrate, the respiratory quotient, it comes equal to unity, because in carbohydrate the carbon numbers are the carbon molecules are equal to oxygen molecule in number, so that their ratio always becomes unity. But in proteins, the carbon are greater than the oxygen molecule, means in proteins oxygen, they are lesser than the carbon, so it's RQ, so it require more oxygen for the fixation or for the breakdown of that particular biomolecule, and the lesser CO2 is evolved in such type of substrate. So the if the RQ is around 0.9, then the substrate is supposed to be a protein. Similarly, the fats, they are also having the carbon greater than the oxygen, hence their RQ is also lesser than 1, and if the RQ it comes around 0.7, then the substrate is supposed to be a fats. Here with this respiratory quotient we complete our chapter. Read the chapter carefully, watch the video. If you are having any doubt, any kind of difficulty, then contact me free of any